again, and welcome back to my art channel. Today we are working with gouache, and this was actually my very first time working with gouache on a full piece. I had tootled around with it a little bit in my sketchbook before to kind of try it out a little bit, but this is the first time I was using it in a full piece, and I just wanted to talk about my thoughts on gouache and my thoughts on trying new things. So let's get into it. There's something freeing about trying something new because in a way, like, you don't have any expectations of yourself, or at least you shouldn't have any expectations of yourself, because when it's your first time using a thing, you've never used it before, so you don't know how good or bad it's going to be, and if it's bad, no one can blame you because it's your first time. So that's sort of how I feel about this piece, is that, I mean, I'm happy with how it turned out, but it's definitely not the best thing I've ever painted. But that's okay, because it was my very first time painting a full thing with gouache. And that is something that I like about trying new things, is you're able to sort of step out of your comfort zone in a way that allows you the freedom to make mistakes. I'm definitely a perfectionist at heart, so when I'm using something that I'm even halfway comfortable with, I feel like this needs to be the best thing that I've ever done, or I'm a failure. And that's a really hard trap to put yourself in. That's a really hard situation to put yourself in, because it's paralyzing. It really is, because if what you make has to be absolutely perfect, you're never going to make anything, because it's never going to be perfect. You know, art is never perfect, and it's not supposed to be perfect, but of course there's that little voice in the back of your head that's like, oh, it's not perfect, so this isn't any good. So yeah, when I get into that sort of a headspace, I like to try something new, because then it kind of gives me permission to not be good. And I think that's really important with art and anywhere on your art journey, is give yourself permission to not be good. I gave myself permission to not be good at this painting because A, it was my very first time using gouache, and B, I was painting a moose, which is a different subject material than I usually draw. I usually draw girls, because that's what everybody draws, I guess. But I wanted to draw a moose because I didn't know what to draw, and I wanted to paint. I wanted to paint a moose because I didn't know what to paint, and I wanted to use my gouache paints for a full piece, and so I asked my wife for suggestions of something that wasn't a person, and she said a moose. So I'm painting a moose, and I wanted to make it turquoise because I didn't want to use the neutral tones, because, you know, the gouache set that I bought came with this really pretty cerulean color, and I wanted an excuse to use it, so that's why I painted a turquoise moose. And I do have to say, it's a lot easier, at least in my opinion, it's a lot easier to be good at painting animals than it is painting people, because we don't have that sort of facial recognition with animals like we do with people, because we're not looking at animals, at least I'm not looking at animals every second of every day, whereas, you know, you look at people a lot. They're all around you. You have to recognize different people because they'll get offended if you don't remember who they are. But with animals, especially with wild animals like moose or birds or cats, it's easier to kind of trick your brain into thinking, oh, yeah, that's what a moose looks like, because you're not looking at moose all the time. there were several points during this whole experience of painting this that I thought, I don't know if I'm using this paint correctly. And normally I get kind of defensive when it comes to critique, because I have this idea in my head that I need to be an expert at whatever I'm doing. So, like, if I'm doing something digitally, my first instinct is to be very defensive if somebody is giving me a critique, especially if I have not asked for a critique, because I'm like, no, I've been doing this for 10 years and I know what I'm doing and blah, 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 blah. Even though I still have things to learn. I am by no means an expert, but I don't like to feel stupid. And if someone is telling me I did something wrong, I feel stupid. And that's not a fun feeling, even if it's not true. That's how I feel. So I build up a wall in terms of, like, for example, working digitally, because that's pretty much my primary medium and that's what I'm most comfortable with. And so I build up this wall where I don't want necessarily to hear people's opinions about how I did. I don't want to hear critique about it because I feel like I should be an expert, even though I'm not. Whereas for something like this being my first time using gouache, I feel like, yes, let me know if I did something wrong. And I'm not gonna feel stupid about it because I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first time using gouache. I don't know how to use gouache. I'm just having fun. So yeah, I guess that brings me around to, if you do have more experience with gouache, please let me know if I was using this right at all, because I don't know. And it was fun, and I would like to use gouache more in the future, so yeah, let me know if I was using these totally wrong, because then I can improve in gouache. But yeah, there were definitely several times during this painting where I either wanted them to work more like acrylics or more like watercolor, and I'm not super experienced in either of those mediums, but I was slightly more experienced in acrylic and gouache than I was slightly more experienced in acrylic and watercolor than I was with gouache. So I wanted it to be more like those, but it's not. It's a totally different medium. But anyway, those are my thoughts on gouache and on trying new things. I like how this turned out, and if you liked it too, there are prints of it up on my Redbubble shop. I will leave a link in the info card. You can see here I am dating this piece. I did this like a month ago. Over a month ago, and I am just now finally putting out the video and putting it up on my Redbubble. So again, yeah, if you like this piece, there are prints and merchandise up on my Redbubble shop. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to the 20 people who liked my videos enough to subscribe, and I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you watching. If you liked this video, leave a like so I know, and I'll make more videos like this that are more like general discussion topics, I guess, and not just talking about the piece that I'm drawing. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!